That's awesome.
Okay. Our race winner is here with us. That's Jeff
Did you
Gordon.
expect anything different?
He drove the number 24 DuPont 20 years celebratory Chevrolet for Hendrick Motorsports. He's joined by his crew chief, Alan Gustafson. And what a way to win here today, Jeff. Your 20th anniversary with DuPont and Hendrick Motorsports. Your 87th career NASCAR Sprint Cup Series victory. Your first win here at Homestead Miami Speedway. You have now won at least one race at every active Sprint Cup Series track except Kentucky Speedway, and the only reason you haven't won there is because you've only raced there twice.
Yeah, tell them somebody stop adding tracks.
But listen, congratulations, Jeff. Maybe just talk about the win. Talk about how that it's got to be special. 20 years with DuPont, 20 years with Hendrick Motorsports.
There's a lot of reasons why it's special. This is a big win. I mean, we've been really close here in the past years with some good race cars, but just coming up a little bit short. And today we just did all the right things. And with the way this team has handled things and fought through things, and some great moments and some pretty low moments, to be able to end the season like this, pretty amazing. But I think what I'm most excited about is DuPont. To be able to have a special paint scheme commemorating 20 years together, it's such an incredible accomplishment. And then to be able to kind of pay them back or give them thanks by pulling that car into victory lane, I know how pumped they were. They were very, very excited. And, as well as I can't believe it's not very often you get Hendrick Motorsports a first, or Rick Hendrick. So, we got to do it together, buddy. Right, I appreciate that.
Crew Chief Alan Gustafson, talk about the win here today.
Yeah, it was a really good race, and to echo Jeff's sentiments, that to be able to win DuPont's 20th anniversary and Jeff's 20th anniversary with that silver car, which I think is a gorgeous race car. It looks really good on the racetrack, and even better in victory lane. So it was a good race. Had a solid car. I think we made the right decision there pitting. That was obviously a pivotal moment for us to be able to contend for the win, and had a really good car and a solid day. So big deal for the team. We've been through a lot, and are in a position that we wish we were in a lot better position in points right now, and we're closer to contend. But we know to contend, you have to win races in the chase, and we're able to do that today. So that's a big deal.
Thank you, Alan. And Rick, you finished this season. Now you have 209. Your racing organization has 209 career NASCAR Sprint Cup Series victory. You had the big 200th win earlier this season at Darlington. You finished the year with a big win. Just talk about how special that has to be.
Well, our goal is to win every race when we can, and the cars all ran well today. Jeff was fast. I think he had the fastest 10-lap average yesterday, and it was a great day for us. A great day for DuPont. You don't have sponsors that come on board and stay with you that long, and to look at the number of wins, Jeff has 87 now. 87 out of 100. Out of 100, 209. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that is good.
But no, it was a great race. I went over and congratulated Roger and Brad. Roger's actually wearing my hat, and I'm wearing his. And he's a great friend, and Brad did a good job. So we're happy for them. But we talked about it before the race started. We wanted momentum out of this race to carry into next year, and I think I'm real proud of Jeff. He had the bit in his mouth today, and Alan made all the right calls, and it's good to get one here at Homestead, because this is our first. This is one of the other tracks we never won at.
Questions now for Rick, Jeff, or Alan. We'll start over here to the left, please, with George.
Yeah, George Diaz, Orlando Sentinel. Jeff, can you take us through the emotions of the week, obviously, starting in Phoenix and having to deal with the aftermath, and, here you are, victory, and having finished second to Boyer. It's without any incident. I guess there is, just take us through that if you can.
It's like our whole season wrapped up in 1 week. Definitely the emotions and you can try all you want to try to move past the moment, but man, it just ate me up inside all week. I just kept going back and forth about the decisions that I made, and wishing I had made different decisions, to backing up reasons why I made the decisions I made, and I just kept going back and forth from being disappointed, being angry, feeling that I had a right, I didn't have a right, and so that just ate me up all week. It meant the world to me to have Rick, stand by my side, not just here in the media center, but all week, as well as Alan and the team, and that's what I think was so special today, was to go into victory lane, and I think it kind of even started in our team meeting before the race. I apologize to those guys for some of the things that transpired that they had to get involved with that wasn't their doing last week. And I put them in that position, and I apologize to them, and I thank them at the same time for having my back. And that's the kind of team that we've been this year. We've had to have one another's backs, because we've all made mistakes this year. And so to be able to celebrate with them in victory lane was very special, very meaningful, and gives us a tremendous amount of momentum to go into 2013 with that new race car.
Let's go over here to Bob Pockris. I think you had a question. And then we'll go to David Newton, and then Lewis. We'll go in the corner.
Bob Parker, Sporting News for Rick and Jeff. Obviously, Jimmy would have had a chance to win if he didn't have his problems. What's it like to see him have those problems? And, you've never seen those problems in the past chases that he's been in. Is that just the odds catching up to them?
Yeah, Bob, I think so. I mean, a pinhole in that line, that could have something hit it, or, I don't know how it happened, but I think about that. I mean, we had to run a bunch of perfect races to win 5 in a row, and Jeff to win his 4. I mean, I saw Terry break his hand and come back and win a race, and I mean, today in this chase setting we have, with the points as tight as they are, you can't have a problem. And I know it wasn't from the lack of effort, and we had a lug nut to start it, and then we had the hole in the line. But that's just racing. I mean, if you let that destroy you, you'll never be able to win again. And I think we'll go back and figure out what happened, and try to prevent it from happening on any of our cars again. That's the way we usually work together. And it's disappointing, but at the same time, it's racing. And the tire blew in Phoenix. You can't help that, and those kind of things happen. But you just have to accept it. If you've been racing as long as I have, I've had a lot of them on white flag, and something happens, and you just have to go on and race again the next day.
Let's go David Newton, Kenny Bruce, Lewis Frank.
Yeah, that's also for Rick, kind of following up on that. I mean, you came into the day kind of hoping to be in at least both victory lanes, I guess, or one, at least celebrating the championship. What were the mixed emotions you had, or did you have mixed emotions celebrating the win with Jeff, knowing that the 48 team had kind of blown the championship?
Well, I think, again, I feel awful blessed to be able to have won as many as I've won. And after a while, you just do the best you can and prepare the best you can. And if somebody just beats you, then you got to go to work. If things happen outside of your control, then that's just the breaks of the game. And it's I thought it was a long shot anyway coming in here tonight. Brad, as good as he's been, he's run a flawless chase, and unless he had the same kind of problem we had tonight, and that could have happened with a lug nut or run over something or an oil line or whatever, could have happened to him. And that so it can happen, but the likelihood, the way their year's been going, for that to happen was pretty remote. So it wasn't a total shock. I thought that the 48 and the 24 were strong and could make it on fuel, and we were going to be, it would probably be 10, 12 points, 10, 11 points, something like that. But unless they had the same kind of problem 48 had, we weren't going to do it. But I think it was, we talked about this again on the radio before the race with Jeff and Alan, we need to go out and get the job done today, and that's what they did. So I'm celebrating that one and letting the other deal go.
Let's go Kenny, Lewis, and then we'll go to the gentleman in the far right. Go ahead, Kenny.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. For Rick, I know you have the shell hat on. I understand you and Roger switched hats out there. Did you say anything? Can you share what you said with him out there?
Well, you know, he and I watched a race together not long ago, and we were out of town, and he's one of my best friends, and I wanted to congratulate him, and he reached for my hat when I got to him and said, I want to wear the hat, and so I was happy to swap with him, and you know, it's you know, I respect him so much, and he is such a good friend, and so I'm real happy for him. I'm very he's paid his dues. He's won a bunch of championships, and he's done a lot of hard work in this sport. So, and Brad, he was with our organization for a while, and you know, he's got a lot of talent, and so I you know, you want to see friends do well. So, and I mean, I don't want to. This is it. Once enough. You know, next year's not going to be that way. But no, we talked about it. We laughed. We were actually texting before the race. We were keep it in the family. That's what we said. So if we both get to win tonight, that was pretty good.
Let's go Lewis Frank.
Louis Frank with Reuters. Jeff, were you close on fuel at the end? And if you were, how were you?
You need to ask Alan. He's the one that gambled on it. I was saving a lot. I know that. You know, I just kept looking at the gap. What made me concerned was that the run before that, I'd gotten really, really tight in the center and loose off. And so I lost some speed at the end of the run, and the 15 was able to run me down. And I didn't want to see that same thing happen. And so, you know, when he started saying save fuel, I said, well, how many laps are we short? He said, no, we're good, but want to pad it a little bit. Well, I kept thinking, I don't want to pad anything because the last run, you know, we gave up a lot at the end. But they made an adjustment to the car. The car stayed good throughout the whole run. And so it was hard to break up the momentum or the rhythm that I was in on my entry and getting to the gas in the middle. But we started working with it and keeping that gap. But I don't know, how close were we?
We had probably a lap to the good, and we were just going to keep that. We had a 2-second lead, and there's no reason you don't have to win it by just a foot. So we knew we had 2 seconds to spare, and you know, shame on us if we're out there trying to stretch a lead and run out of gas. It's not very smart. So we just kept the 2 seconds as close as we could, and, you know, within that 2-second window. And I had a thought in my mind, if he got to 1 second, we'd turn him back loose. So we never did.
Let's go to the gentleman in the far right, then we'll go to Don Coble, and then we'll go to the press box. Go ahead.
My name is Michael Cirillo. I'm with a website called Latinacom, NASCAR's diversity outreach program. Had my wife and I come down to see NASCAR's outreach to the minority and Latin communities. And Jeff, congratulations. This is more of a career question, or for Mr. Hendrick. In light of what Mr. Smith said a couple of years ago about Miami, and now that you finally won here, could you shed some light, or Mr. Hendrick shed light on how over the last 2 decades NASCAR has changed from a southern-rooted sport to one that's trying to extend its outreach to you know, across borders, across the United States, and across different foreign borders? And congratulations again on your victory here.
I mean, I think, you know, we feel the same way as NASCAR does, that we want everybody to be a NASCAR fan. You know, the more fans, you know, the better reach that we have to bring crowds and entertain them, and as well as sponsorship, you know, opportunities. You know, I think that's just kind of the way the world is working, certainly in the marketing world as well, of you know, who the customer is out there. But, you know, definitely this race, I'd say probably the Phoenix race as well, you know, just really reaching out and broadening the fan base. And it's great to see. It's really grown, you know, over the years. You know, you see the Latino fans and Hispanic, you know, market growing here each race that we come here. And it's very cool, you know, because typically they probably wouldn't follow NASCAR. But if this track wasn't here, or the fact that it is here, I think it really displays our racing at its best. It's a great racetrack. It's very entertaining. It's a great weekend of racing with the trucks, the Nationwide and the Sprint Cup Series, battling for the championship. So it doesn't get much better than this. And you know, the fans that I come across, you know, they love the fact that they're able to come here to this racetrack and see NASCAR racing at its best that they don't always get a chance to in other parts of the country. So yeah, that's definitely an area that's really grown.
You know, we had two fans from Israel that came. Were in Victory Lane tonight, and we didn't know them until they spoke to my wife. But they were wearing Gordon stuff, and they were telling us that, and we were telling them that we visited there a couple years ago. So
Was it the couple with the little boy?
Mhm.
Yeah. So at the airport this morning, we were at the airport. My wife and my kids and myself getting ready to helicopter out, and they were sitting right next to us. But you know, they didn't say anything, and I didn't really see anything. And then all of a sudden they were walking out to go get on this bus, and the little boy had a 24 backpack on. And so I said hi to him, and I was kind of struck that they didn't say anything to me, you know, or get a picture or an autograph or anything. And so my wife saw them at the Victory Lane, or like outside of Victory Lane, and she recognized them from this morning and said, come up into Victory Lane. So I'm glad that you got a chance to say hi to them and see them and learn more about who they were. It's pretty cool to I mean, I know the little boy was a big fan, so to get to go to Victory Lane is pretty cool.
Let's go to Don, then we'll go to Nate, and then we'll take a press box question. Go ahead, Don.
Jeff, Don Coble with Morris News Service. Clinton was in here a little while ago, and he said that it had obviously gone through his mind that you were the one ahead of him, and he says, and I'm sure it was going through your mind that he was, coming from behind. I mean, was there any thought about that, or were you just more worried about keeping your distance to win the race, or were you thinking at all about Boyer?
I thought a little bit more about him when I was passing him for what could possibly have been for the lead, because Alan told me that if this thing goes green, you're racing the 15. And so we came into some lap traffic, and I could tell he was pretty anxious and running hard, and he knew the same thing that I knew, and I was able to get to the outside of him and get by him. But I had to race with him a couple of times, and there were no issues. It didn't matter who was behind me. I'll be honest. I wanted to win the race, and Alan put us in the position to win the race. We had a great race car, and I didn't want to give it up to anybody, but I thought it was pretty ironic. I mean, there was one time where it was a restart. It was me, Joey, and Clint. I'm like, isn't that just the way it goes? And so we just really tried to focus on our car, our team, our position, and get the most out of it. And after it was over, I thought, wow, I can't believe that we just finished first and second after what happened last week.
Let's go Nate Ryan, then we'll go press box.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. Jeff, you've been a four-time champion, obviously, and you congratulate Brad after the win tonight. What kind of champion do you think he'll be for the sport? I mean, that's a pretty big ambassador role, and he's obviously first guy born, I think, in the 1980s to be champion of the sport, and kind of looks at the world a little bit differently. How do you think he'll do as the lead face?
And I think because of that, he'll do great. I mean, his ability to reach out to the social media and the younger crowd. I think that he's somebody that takes it, wants to take it, and wants to be that, and he'll, because of that, he'll put a lot of effort into it. He's entertaining, that's you never know what you're going to get with Brad, so I enjoy or look forward to watching him, and I think this experience, he will just mature to a whole nother level because of being in this position and carrying this responsibility. When he sees all that's involved, every champion that I've ever seen, when they're first won, they always come out of it with a whole new perspective on past champions. You know, and I remember when Jimmy won his, he's overwhelmed with everything that comes along with it, and you know it makes you grow up. You know, if you're ready for it or not ready for it, doesn't matter. It's there, and there's a lot to take in. And it makes you really look at things a lot differently and recognize that responsibility that you have. So I think you do a very good job.
Let's take a question, press box, and then we'll go to Jenna. Go ahead, press box.
Monty Dutton, gosh, what a noise. Monty Dutton, Gaston Gazette. Rick, waited 30 minutes now, I can't talk. Rick, your season has been unusually erratic. You went 10 races at the beginning without winning, then you won 7 of the next 11, then the next 11 without a win, and won 3 of the last 4. Was that all just happenstance and the way things happen, or is consistency something that your team needs to shore up?
Well, you know, I don't really know how to answer that. We've run good every week. We've had all 4 cars in the chase. Everybody won a race. I think we had 11 poles and 10 wins, and we finished. I don't know where we finished in the points. We had a shot to finish 1, 3, and 5 2 weeks ago, and I don't really think we're erratic. I think the competition is pretty stiff, and you know, you look at Greg Biffle, led the points going into the chase, and so I just think it's the level of competition. If you are short on fuel, you go from 1st to 12th. If you have a tire go down or you have to come back in on a speeding penalty, you're like Casey, you lead the race and then you end up 20th. It's just so many good cars out there. You know, I don't think anybody can just be perfect for the whole year. And I'd say if I can go every year and get them all in the chase and win 10, 11 races and 10, 11 poles, you know, I want to win a lot of championships, but if you run like that, you'll win your share.
Take another question in the press box. Go ahead.
Viv Bernstein, New York Times. For Rick, at one point Brad was in the Hendrick stable, I guess, with JR Motorsports, and I guess the thought was eventually he would maybe get a ride with Hendrick, and obviously he left. But did you see this potential in him back then, and any thoughts you wish you could have retained him at that time?
You know, I knew Brad had a lot of talent, and we looked at ways to try to keep him. And I told Roger he was on loan. Now he won't want to come back. But, no, you know, sometimes guys really blossom, and they are really, you know, way ahead of the curve, and the timing isn't right. But I wish him, you know, all the luck in the world, and you know, he's a great talent, and if, you know, we work to get him in a nationwide car, and then his first win in a Cup car with James was one of our cars, and so, you know, if we kind of help him get there, that's great, and but you know, you just never know how it turns, what turns life takes, and I'm happy for him, but I'm happy with our lineup.
Jenna.
Jenna Fryer, AP. That was part of my question. He won his championship in his 125th start, and the guy who did it in the fewest starts is Jeff in 93 starts. So I guess that's a impressive start, and I think it's impressive because I don't think anybody thought 3 years ago that Brad could do that. He was sort of raw and aggressive. I mean, would you agree with that? Did you think that he could turn it around that quickly? And my second question, since you know Roger so well, does that guy ever show emotion?
He was pretty emotional tonight when I was with him. He genuinely was happy. Roger was. You know, Brad and Jeff worked with Brad. Brad, you know, he rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, but he was very aggressive, but he learned how to control that and how to race, and he did it in a hurry, and he did it almost in a year. And you know, and I think Wolf has been a great influence, and you know, they got there. That's a great combination. And you know, you see guys. I remember Kyle Busch, and Allen was the guy that had him. First season, first race he ever ran in a Nationwide car, he should have won. And when you got a lot of talent, a lot of times you see guys with talent and they get too aggressive, or they just don't know when to race. And he figured it out in a hurry. He's been he's been a very smart, while he was aggressive racer this year.
Well, I mean, when he was with us, I don't know if I saw this much potential out of him, but he certainly had talent, and I think he races smart, like Rick said. And a lot of times, you know, when you look at champions in any series, you know, you have to have talent and know how to get the most out of the car, but you have to be smart. To me, and Alan might even be able to talk to this point a little bit, what impressed me so much this year is that, you know, there were times when there was some back and forth between whether, you know, they were missing something or didn't have what, you know, we had, and those guys went to work, you know, and they made their stuff really strong, and it takes, you know, engineering, good crew chief, fabricators, as well as a solid driver to pull together like that and make improvements. So you got to give them credit.
Lewis, I think you had a question right there. Where's the wireless mic? Where's the microphone? Microphone missing in action. Here you go. Be the final question right here.
Jeff, you've been a champion 4-time. Rick, you've had numerous championships. Could you talk a little bit about the mental toughness in Brad? You know, when you guys go full court press, you guys go full court press.
Well, I'll tell you, I remember just like yesterday, Brad sitting in my office, and he eats, sleeps, and drinks wanting to be a race car driver. And when he was with in the Nationwide team, he was all under the car, all around the car with the guys. And he brings a level of intensity, you know, that I see in very few people. That just determined, and I think he's matured, as Jenna said, in a hurry, and he learned how to race and race 500 miles and race against guys and know when to race, and the gas mileage thing, they figured it out. I guess they were first, weren't they? I mean, they kind of had the gas mileage deal down first and won a couple of races that way where everybody was saying, hey, can they go that far? So that was planning with the, you know, he and the crew chief. And I think he spends a lot of time over there, and he's made that whole organization better. And again, I think like Jeff said, I don't know that I've ever seen anybody mature as quickly, and not so much mature, but learn how to race and accept racing with, you know, guys that were champions and looked at as being the best, but wanting to beat the best, and so he deserves it. They deserve it this year. They had a great year.
Jeff, Allen, and Rick, congratulations on this win. Congratulations on a good season. Happy Thanksgiving. We'll see you in Las Vegas.